This has turned out or is turning out to be a really interesting year. So I would say whether you're new to Bitcoin within the past couple of years or you've been in Bitcoin for a while like I have, you kind of already know this. This cycle, whether it's a 4-year cycle or it's something else, it just feels different. And I just wanted to do kind of a different sort of video today where I just kind of do almost like a pep talk, but also kind of like my own thoughts and sort of metabolizing, even the experience that I'm going through right now. And, I think the bottom line is the thought that I want to sort of unpack here is that if it were easy, everyone would be doing it. So it's not Bitcoin, as you probably know, no matter how long you've been in it, is not easy necessarily. It's actually really hard sometimes, especially when we're in a bear market like we've been in since, October of last year. Now, once in a while, especially in a bull market, you look like a genius, you feel like a genius, everything's sort of going your way. But most of the time, like I was saying, especially in bear markets like this one, you feel this sense of isolation, maybe like you're even one of the dumbest kids in the room sometimes. And when you really stop and think about it, though, about just about everything in life that's worth having is hard. Okay. So I have to remind myself of that, from time to time as well. So again, this video is really kind of an encouragement to myself. It's been a rough year. It's been very interesting in terms of this YouTube channel and just some of a lot of the clients that I've onboarded. It's been really interesting in the YouTube world as well. And so I'm not a huge complainer. I don't like to, I don't like to dwell on things, but I do think that it's important from time to time for us to sort of come clean with each other and say, hey, this is weird. The sentiment in the space is very strange. I'm not really sure what to do with it sometimes. Now, I will say that one thing that it hasn't done is I haven't sold a single sat. I'm not planning on doing that. One of the things that I've noticed in the last sort of, 8 months or so that I've really gotten back active on YouTube, and I've had a lot of one-to-one conversations with you guys, is a lot of us are probably a little bit over allocated into Bitcoin. And I think that most of us, whether you've been in 2 years or you've been in a long time like I have, expected for this cycle to be very different because of all of the institutional adoption, all of the, regulation, and all of the really positive tailwinds that have been, happening during this cycle. But I think it's good to kind of go back to first principles and think about why this is hard, and why all the really worthwhile things in life are worth it because they're hard, because there are a whole bunch of things, particularly with regard to money, that are not easy. Okay. So being good with money, especially in our consumer sort of Western, and I'm speaking mostly to an American audience, but I'm sure that this is, true just about everywhere. Being good with money is not easy. Being good with money is not easy. Getting out of debt is not easy. Building wealth is not easy. And I would say navigating Bitcoin bear markets like the one that we're in right now is also not easy. By the way, I wanted to mention that Bitbox is the sponsor of today's video, and I will talk more about them at the end of the video. And so I think that in any of these sort of dips that we go through, bear markets that we go through, whether it's in Bitcoin or it's in other areas of our lives, struggle is pretty much unavoidable. I just recently listened to Joshua Sheets, who's the guy that runs the Radical Personal Finance podcast. I've listened to him for years, and I'm a really big admirer of him and his content. And he did a podcast. I'm sort of drafting off of the podcast that he did, where he's basically talking about this very thing. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. So there are lots of things that change during bear markets. So everybody seems to be holding hands and sort of kumbayaing when things are going our way. I think when at the end of 2024, I think it was in 2024 when the ETFs got launched, and then there was this sort of meteoric rise over the next year and a half or so. ETFs got launched. There was all this regulatory sort of tailwinds. The certain aspects of the political class seemed like they were on our side, and so there's always a lot of argument going on in the Bitcoin space. But it seems like once we cross into bear market territory, man, the gloves just kind of come off, and it seems like everybody is sort of at each other's throat. Community cohesion kind of starts to break down. And so I think that this is kind of inevitable. I haven't read the tweet that Michael Saylor wrote, or it was some sort of content that he put out about the five types of Bitcoiners. And I think the moral of the story is that all of us are some amalgamation of, all five of those. It's really just kind of what's rising to the top right now. So I definitely see myself as a hardcore. I talk about this all the time on the channel. I'm definitely self-custody. I think self-custody is a very, very important thing. I know a lot of people that are coming in, especially in this last couple of years, are not really focused on that. It's been something that, I think among a lot of my peers in the Bitcoin personal finance space, I've kind of stepped, I'm not in step with. A lot of them are really just not talking about that because they don't want to. And I do think there's a lot of credence to, just a lot of the fatigue around, there's kind of this echo chamber of the Bitcoin only space. And I worked for a Bitcoin only startup for a while, and, all the Bitcoin podcasts, there's a certain way that they talk about Bitcoin and as sovereign money. And I'm in agreement with all of those things. But I think that there's also been this widening, of Bitcoin and trying to integrate it into personal finance, which, as you guys know, is exactly what I'm trying to do, with this channel and this content. But I wanted to go back for a minute and just talk about my struggle with money. Really started, my consciousness of it really started back in 2004 when I hit a wall. I had a lot of you guys know this story. I had $174,000 worth of debt. 43,000 of that was consumer debt. 131 of it was mortgage debt. But I was very underemployed. I was a professional musician, and that was about the time that I discovered Dave Ramsey's content. And I went through his Financial Peace University program, and I was just like, it was absolutely life-changing for me. So I paid off that debt in 2.5 years following his system. I got the bug to, start coaching, start leading people through the process. But along the lines of this theme of, anything that's worthwhile is going to be hard. Once I started my financial coaching business, I went into trying to go after basically the same audience that Dave goes after. And these are broke people that, typically are not really willing to do the hard things. And I sat kneecap to kneecap with a lot of these people for a lot of years. I was going after, like I said, the same audience that he was going after. I mean, he's the 800-pound gorilla in the room in the ecosystem, and so he's got a huge marketing, sort of machine behind him, and he's got a whole team of people now, and all of that sort of thing. But the thing that I learned, it was very disappointing because I know that my sort of scared straight moment was 2004 when I hit the wall. I had less than or around $1,000 in my checking account, and my overhead was over $2,000 a month, and I was freaking out. And so that moment of like great sobriety, I just assumed that I was going to meet a lot of people along my journey that were going to have a similar scared straight, moment. And it was really shocking to me that as I sat kneecap to kneecap and screen to screen with these individuals and these families that had tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, and we would walk through talk about this all the time. I've got a free budgeting course, that link is in the video description below, that walks you through the process that I used to walk those people through, where we would sit down and we would organize their finances. So we would list out all their bills, expenses, debts, all their assets. We would come up with a net worth figure, usually would be negative at that point in the process. Then we'd put that into a zero-based budget, and then we would commence with expense tracking. So usually it would take about 3 months if the people were really engaged and if they were really a student of the process. But what I found was that a shockingly small percentage of the people that actually were willing to pay me to go through that process actually did the work, actually did all of the hard things. So I have a very personal, sort of bent and an understanding of the American middle class, because all the people, there were a few cases that I took that were, people that were in extreme poverty, and, tried to help them, single mothers and some of that kind of thing. But like the solidly middle class people that I worked with all of those years, the vast majority of them, and again, shocking to me, weren't willing to put in the work to do the basic blocking and tackling of personal finance. So if you're a regular viewer of my channel, obviously you've done all of that, or you're in the process of doing all that. Maybe you've eliminated all your consumer debt, and you trying to incorporate Bitcoin more deeply into your personal finances is basically just a way for you to take everything to the next level. Now, this is probably my fifth, deep bear cycle. I've been in Bitcoin since 2013. And like I said, this cycle just feels different. Now, I've been through 80+% drawdowns, where literally I watched the value in dollar terms of my stack go from a certain dollar amount to 80+% less. Now, I knew all along, especially once I really understood Bitcoin, I really understood what it was as a protocol, what it was as the strongest computer network in the world, as in terms of it being all the things that it is. I'm drawing a little bit drawing a blank right now. My brain is a little bit tired, but just kind of going through this thought process of this is a very difficult time. If these are things that you're struggling with, I'm right there with you in many ways, because this is just a very, very strange time. I want to go back to a thing that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, where one of the things that I've identified, and this has been true for my wife and me, we're actively doing some things about this in terms of our 4 levels of liquidity. Now, I think that the levels of liquidity that are most germane to this particular conversation are your level 1 and level 2 liquidity. So your level 1 liquidity is going to be having an emergency fund. It's normally recommended, Dave Ramsey recommends 3 to 6 months. I think in the FIRE community, it's recommended 6 to 12 months. Like, I'm actually, especially as a result of this bear market, my wife and I are probably going for 12 to 24 months from here on out. So we are, fortunate that we haven't had to sell any of our assets. We are, obviously I do make a little bit of income from this platform, although that's very, very lumpy. My wife is currently getting ready to start a job as well. And so we are, doing some very proactive things to kind of weather this really weird cycle that we seem to be in. So I'm just curious, where you guys are in this process. Like I said, I think that I think it's just really important to be transparent about these things. And, this is obviously not one of my normal videos where it's, super buttoned up and I'm walking you through, like 3 blocks of very, dense content in a very orderly fashion, trying to keep your attention throughout the whole piece of it. But I'm curious, just kind of where you guys are on things like self-custody, things like your 4 levels of liquidity. I'm also curious about, what everybody's thoughts are about, Michael Saylor and Stretch. My, sort of overarching, conviction about all of these things is that I think Stretch strategy are going to be fine. I think that there is definitely there's always some caution to be, to be had when you're looking at, assets or instruments that sort of cross paths with the fiat, the legacy fiat system. But my sense of it is that, everything is going to be fine. I've looked at, their financials, and I haven't sold any of my Stretch at this point. Yeah, so I just, this is kind of a strange video for me. It's really more of a brain dump than just kind of a check-in. I'm sure that you guys have noticed that I haven't been posting quite as much, just because I don't really feel like there's a lot to say right now. And it seems that as though that whatever is going on in this market and whatever YouTube has been doing with the algorithm, my one-to-one sort of coaching calls have really kind of fallen off a cliff. I really haven't had very many of those lately. So by the way, I do offer 30-minute calls. So if you're interested in that, booking a call with me, the link is in the video description below for that. I will get back on a regular publishing schedule. I'd love to hear from you guys, like what kind of videos do you want me to make? I'll continue to post in the community as well. I get a lot of great feedback from you guys. And then also I publish a micro newsletter a couple of times a week. So if you want access to that, just type micro in the comments. Again, just kind of a weird brain dump kind of video. Let me know if you want me to do more of these as well, where it's just sort of like human to human, Brad being a little bit more of a human being rather than, a guy that's trying to teach through, 4 points as succinctly and as magnetically as possible. So thanks for watching. Hope you're doing great, and I will see you in the next video. Real quick, you guys know I talk about the importance of self-custody all the time. And I know a lot of you guys are totally overwhelmed by it. That's why I love our channel sponsor, BitBox Hardware Wallets. If you want one of the most secure cold storage Bitcoin wallets that's also super user-friendly, the BitBox O2 Nova is for you. When I'm recommending hardware wallets to my audience, they must have 2 criteria. Bitcoin only as an option, and then also they must have fully open source and auditable source code. The BitBox meets both of these criteria and is the ultimate self-sovereignty tool. You can think of it as a Swiss vault for your Bitcoin private keys. It's USB-C and literally works with everything: Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Android. It has an easy-to-read tempered glass display and Swiss bank vault levels of security. This is one of my favorite Bitcoin wallets in my 13 plus years in the Bitcoin industry. And guess what? If you click on the link in the description, you can use the code BRAD for 5% off. That's right, 5% off if you use the code BRAD. This is the perfect gift if you want to encourage your friends and family into holding their Bitcoin private keys in sovereign self-custody. The link is in the description below. Buy a BitBox O2 Nova today unless you want to lose all your Bitcoin to the banksters.